Welcome to a Star Citizen monthly report summary. It's October 2021, and we're going to look at what Cloud Imperium have been working on for the last few weeks for Star Citizen's persistent universe, what they're focused on now. This is a summary of the monthly report, with a little bit of extra added context and some bits from CitizenCon thrown in. The animation team have been improving vendors, including new items, assets, and transitions to give a more lifelike result. Drunk locomotion was improved, and they have some new assets relating to that, so you can stagger around and look silly. They've got various emotional state idols to characters as well now. Patron animations and behaviours continued to receive work. You're going to have better people walking around in the bar using bar stools and saying hello to the barman, and barman serving you better. The animation team went on to say, we dropped in a considerable amount of new idle animations for characters sitting, and are working towards the day where no character looks like a statue, but rather a living, breathing person. Some of these animations have not been fully edited yet, but we wanted to get them in so we can feel out the results in the PTU and persistent universe. Character art finished getting 2 new armors debuting in the coming patch that will also help fill out various gameplay archetypes. Subscriber armor was worked on too. The ship showdown armors that we're going to see at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo look to have been completed as well. They progressed with Alpha 3.16 content, including a texture update pass on all DNA archetype heads. This will massively improve the quality of the character customizer and NPC heads for both the persistent universe and Squadron 42. For Pyro, the concept artists continued creating costume packs of the frontier-style clothing for the whole system. Multiple armors were also modelled for Xenothreat Gang using the existing CDS armor as a base. Obviously, Xenothreat are going to be one of the major factions in Pyro. The character and weapon feature team continued focusing on bug fixing and quality of life improvements for the new player inventory and active status features, improving the speed and responsiveness of the inventory system, and adding filtering were priorities. The Grey Cat multi-tool is now the first weapon gadget with 2 types of reloading action, one for its healing attachment vials and one for its battery. This means the user has to manage 2 different resources to get the best from it. Let's talk about ships. So, the US ship team completed final art for the Crusader Ares, also implementing new large-scale glow workflow into thrusters for improved lighting. It's worth mentioning as well that the Ares Ion and Inferno, as well as the Redeemer, are going to be released in a 3.15.x patch, probably at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. There's also materials differences on the Ion versus the Inferno's armor now too. The Drake Vulture moved into grey box stage. The interior is now complete, and they are focusing on finishing the exterior, including the reclamation arms, nose grinder, body, cockpit, landing gear, and thrusters. They added a collapsible exterior ladder to allow players to access the cockpit from the arm. And as yet to be announced ship, is currently in final art phase with a focus on polishing materials and nacelles. Attention is currently directed at dynamic animations to give players more feedback when the ship is in motion. It's worth noting at CitizenCon 2021, which was shown after this report went out, that the 400i Luxury Explorer from Origin was revealed as straight-to-flyable, and the Liberator light carrier transport was unveiled as a concept ship. Now, it's quite possible that ship just mentioned there was the 400i, that yet-to-be-announced ship. However, we're going to be talking about some more yet-to-be-announced ships, unannounced ships, that are something that's been worked on beyond those 2. So, I very much suspect that one of the ships we're going to talk about here that are briefly mentioned is the mobile refinery ship that Cloud Imperium have talked about sort of very roughly. Expect to see some new ships at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, is what I'm saying, and in 3.16 potentially, but the unannounced ships that I'm going to mention here may be something that we already now know about. There is another unspecified ship now art complete. They are planning a bug fixing pass and preparing to set up final tint range. With the UK ship team, again, an unannounced ship moved down the pipeline while several others reached the final art stage. Tasks for the Crusader A2 Hercules were closed out, including minor polishing and bug fixing. VFX finished work on the new vehicle wakes, which were done alongside the vehicle feature team, and effects were completed for an unannounced ship. Also, on a side note, VFX said they were working on some bits for Theatres of War as well, something that we are very much looking forward to, or at least I am. The upcoming MISC cargo ships progressed well. The Hull C had numerous details finalised, while the Hull A is approaching its white box review. The vehicle feature team made progress with jump points and party jumping. They further developed new animation techniques for the Hull C and supported VFX with improvements to ground effects. The vehicle experience team tested the bombing mechanic in a QA after a successful review and polish period last month. They're now in final bug fixing and optimization stages leading up to a release and are waiting feedback from Ivacardi and the PTU phases. So obviously, the A2 has bombs in the 3.15 first wave PTU, and they are getting tested, and the explosions are big. Improvements were also made to turrets for a future release, and experiments were done on missile tuning and balance across the game. They're also exploring how to further build on operator modes. Vehicle Tech put the finishing touches on what was supposed to be a Squadron 42 specific vehicle mechanic, with the aim of expanding this into the persistent universe. The groundwork for incorporating radar and scanning into FPS gameplay progressed. Some functional radar and scanning design changes are in the works too. Major improvements in how players control doors and other room-related interactions such as lights, atmosphere and communication systems are in prototyping stages. The aim is to fully immerse players by allowing them to control their environment while exploring on foot. The Vehicle Tech team said you can expect more door control panel interactions to come soon. Gameplay and features. The gameplay features team continued supporting local inventories and getting Knickknacks, that app there that tracks where all your stuff is, ready for 3.15. They have adjusted item names and stats, specifically changing all armor capacity amounts from storage points SP to micro SCU, USCU. They also supported various mission teams in connecting content to the reputation system, set up shops and bartenders in Orison, and prepared for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Looking further ahead, work began on allowing items to be sold at shops, the future cargo rework, and Jumptown version 2. The Delphi Reputation app also received attention to ensure everything is as clear as possible now that organisations can have multiple scopes for players to earn ranks in. They have been discussing in development hacking gameplay, Pyro's space stations and non-water-based oceans, a recording session to capture mission and public address system dialogue was also completed. Throughout September, Systemic Services and Tools, SST, continues to work on Economy, Tools, and Quantum, the AI simulation, which we found a bit more out about at the CitizenCon. Edge cases were also wrapped up for easier use and recording. Work continues in earnest on intelligent NPC spawning, with an impressive internal milestone hit by the team. Something pretty important from the UI guys as well, and they said, we made progress on the underlying code work for the star map and started to get some placeholder UI into development builds so we can really start playing around with it. Engine, backend, and renderer stuff. So the physics code was further improved with a focus on soft body performance. The Gen 12 renderer is getting a lot more refinement. We know that 3.15 makes use of some of the Gen 12 features as they push towards a full Gen 12 build and then eventually onto hybrid and then full integration with Vulkan. Some shader updates also are getting rolled out post 3.15's release. Atmospheric clouds and shadows for them have seen improvements too. Some prototype work went into rain clouds as well as how light diffuses and shines from clouds in general. The team also supported server meshing by decoupling code so it can run as a standalone service. They started focusing more on optimization too, with certain game scenarios frequently analysed, reported and updated. This brought various improvements that will be rolled out post 3.15. For example, entity component wake up was improved by keeping components active for some time. Server object container streaming code was heavily optimized too. Terrain rendering, render to texture and water shaders all saw improvements too. Locations. The lighting team polished and optimized Orison's new shops, Cousin Crow's Custom Craft, Providence Surplus, and the Crusader Showroom, which we will all have in 3.15. They said a lot of effort went into ensuring these new locations thematically fit within the style of Orison, but that each has its own unique style and flavour. To help support the addition of these locations, we made further lighting optimization work around their respective platforms. They also continued to finalise the upcoming hospitals and clinics, some of which we'll see in 3.15. Support continued for colonialism outposts, which we saw at CitizenCon, with lighting passes almost complete on all current modules and components. Optimization and polish work is ongoing, and new dynamic lighting was added to support airlock cycling. Orison had a final push with the sound effects and dialogue for Cousin Crow's Custom Craft, and the Crusader Showroom completed alongside an ambient polish. Voiceover tours and mixing, plans for Orison Spaceport music progressed, and the Rest Stop and Grim Hex Hospital locations received their final sound effects and dialogue passes. The gruesome treatment voiceover is a particular highlight for Grim Hex. Now it's implemented in-game, said the audio team. Tech, design, and sound effects work together to add effects to the medical bed and bomb delivery UI. They have also been working on dialogue for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo later this year. Boom! That's it for your monthly report summary this time. There's a huge amount of content going out on my channel about CitizenCon and 3.15 and summaries of all the content there. I am really interested to know, though, what those yet-to-be-announced ships are going to be beyond what we saw at CitizenCon. We're suspecting that at least one of them is a mobile refinery ship, and obviously we saw the 400i and the Liberator at CitizenCon, but yeah, there's probably going to be more in the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. There's probably going to be more in 3.16. I'm interested to know what you think they're going to be. Also, I am much excited about any improvements coming to the star map. It needs love. I want to be able to share locational data. I want to be able to mark points on my star map. I want to be able to easily interact with it. I want to know where I am on planets. A minimap would be great. But what do you think? Are you playing in 3.15 alpha in the first wave PTU? What do you think of that? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it all imploding? Are people mobbing you for all your special gears, causing you to be over-drugged at landing zones? And you're like, why? This needs to be fixed. Or are you really enjoying all the silliness that the new patch brings at the moment? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Some people say I shill for NordVPN, but listen to some of these comments that I just made up. I've never fed the love of a woman before, but then I got NordVPN, and that didn't matter. Doctor said I'd never walk again, but then I got NordVPN. Now I've been running marathons. Also, I got robot legs around the same time. They might have helped somewhat too. I was a tone-deaf pirate, but after getting NordVPN, I'm able to play the saxophone. Go on, Zin, try and animate all of this. Click the links below to get NordVPN. It might lead you to a more fulfilling life, but more likely, it will just help protect you from the terrors of the internet. What ship are we giving away in October? It is one of the most exciting ships we've given away, and one of the most popular. It's the Argo Cargo. So many people liked it, we thought we'd give one away, instead of a Mercury Star Runner, or a Carrack, or something else. You can do fun things, like fly around a planet, or fly very slowly into the sun. And it also makes my top 16 ships that I liked in the ship showdown this year. Me and Zin are sort of on holiday for a week, so we had to quickly film a ship giveaway, so we do have CitizenCon coming up, and we might have some other things going on the channel that will make it worth your while commenting, so do what you want. I'm not your dad. You should definitely press the join button below my videos, though, and you should certainly like and subscribe, and bell bother. Click on the bell. I don't know what it does, but it makes me money somehow. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Thanks very much for watching, though, and I'll see you in the next one.